I stood in my small office in Eugene, Oregon. The light from the large window casting over the technical drawings spread across the oak desk. As Margaret, 62 years old, a sustainable development expert, I had spent over 3 decades designing renewable energy projects from solar systems for schools to green transportation networks for small towns. That day, a Tuesday morning in April 2025, I had just completed the final draft for the biggest project of my career. GreenPulse, an integrated renewable energy system capable of providing clean electricity to 50,000 households in Oregon, reducing carbon emissions by 30%. My team, a group of young engineers and analysts, gathered around the table, chatting excitedly as they reviewed the performance charts on the large screen. I felt proud not only because of the project, but because of the people I had mentored, those who called me the guiding light for my dedication. The glass wall reflected my smile, and I thought of my father, an environmental engineer who always said, "Margaret, your work is a gift to the world. Don't let anyone take away your light." I was organizing the documents to send to the board of EcoWave Solutions, the company I had been with since its early days, when my phone buzzed with an email from Nathan. My team manager, Nathan, 45 years old, was an ambitious young colleague with a friendly smile and a captivating presentation style. I had mentored him, shared my experiences, even invited him to join the GreenPulse team, thinking he would be part of our shared dream. I opened the email casually, thinking it was feedback on GreenPulse or a reminder about a routine meeting. But as I read, it felt like the air was sucked out of the room, each word like a sharp knife. "Margaret, thank you for your initial idea on GreenPulse, but the team has improved it, and I will present this project to the board next week. You don't need to attend, your role is finished. This is the playground for the faster ones. You're too slow at your age." I slumped into my chair, my hands trembling as I read it again, my breath heavy. Nathan had not only stolen my work, the late nights I spent, the calculations I wrote by hand, but he also mocked me, calling me slow as if my 30 years of experience meant nothing. I looked at the drawings on the table, every line of code, every graph I had sweat to build, and it felt like my heart was being squeezed. I thought of my father, how proud he was when I won the National Environmental Award 10 years ago, and I whispered, "Nathan, you are wrong, completely wrong, and I will make you see, not with anger, not with tears, but by proving that my work is greater than your betrayal." I didn't reply to the email. Instead, I opened my laptop, checked the documents I had stored in an encrypted folder, the emails and notes I had kept since I began suspecting Nathan. I called Clara, a board member I trusted, who had always respected my work. "Clara, I need to meet you immediately," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "Nathan just stole my GreenPulse project, called me slow, and I need a chance to make things right. Not just for me, but for the company." Clara responded, her voice warm. "Margaret, come to the cafe near the Willamette River. We'll talk." I stood up, took a deep breath, and looked at the photo of my parents on the desk, thinking of my mother, an electrical engineer, who once said, "Margaret, you are stronger than anyone thinks, even when they look down on you." Have you ever had a colleague steal something you worked so hard on, just because they thought you were no longer valuable? I've been there. But what I did next shocked the whole boardroom. The cracks between Nathan and me didn't appear overnight. They had been creeping in for a long time, like cold winds blowing through a crack in the door that you try to ignore, hoping it will fade away. I joined EcoWave Solutions when it was just a small startup in Eugene, with a dream of making Oregon the clean energy hub of America. I worked with engineers, investors, and the local community to build projects like solar systems for schools and Eugene's first electric vehicle network. Nathan came later 10 years ago, a young, ambitious man with captivating presentations and the ability to attract investors with his smile and sweet words. I mentored him, shared my knowledge on energy system design, how to work with complex environmental regulations. I even invited him to join the Green Pulse team, thinking he would bring new energy that we shared, the dream of a green future. But signs of betrayal appeared a year ago. In meetings, Nathan would often interrupt me, saying things like, "Margaret's idea is good, but let me present it in a more modern way, suitable for the investors." I remember one afternoon when I suggested integrating solar energy into Green Pulse with a new allocation algorithm. Nathan scoffed, his eyes gleaming with disdain. "Margaret, this idea is a bit old. We need something bolder. Let me handle it. You just focus on the technical part." I felt uneasy, but I trusted him because we were a team, because I thought a colleague wouldn't turn against the one who helped them. The clearest sign came 3 months ago when I overheard Nathan speaking to a young engineer. "David, in the company break room. Margaret has experience, but she's not keeping up with the times. Green Pulse needs me to lead, or it will fail and she will just slow everything down." Those words were like a deep cut, but I didn't confront him. Instead, I started acting quietly, like I was planning a complex project. I keep all emails, documents, and meeting notes, especially the times when I presented the core ideas of Green Pulse, from energy optimization algorithms to integrated grid design. I created a separate folder in the cloud, encrypted it to protect my work, just as my mother taught me. "Margaret, your work is your legacy. Protect it as you would protect your heart." I don't want to believe Nathan would go that far, but I'm not naive. I think about my father, about how proud he was when I won the environmental award, and I tell myself, I can't let my parents down. I can't let Nathan take what I've built. Nathan's email that day, calling me slow, wasn't just a betrayal. It was a challenge, as if he was inviting me into a battle. I sat in my office looking at the photo of my parents on the desk and whispered, "Nathan thinks I'm weak, thinks I'll stay silent, but he doesn't know how prepared I am, doesn't know how I've learned to protect my work." I opened my laptop, checked the documents, and felt a new strength, like a fire igniting in my heart. Have you ever felt like your colleagues look down on you just because they think they are faster, younger, or smarter? I've stood at that crossroads, but the secret I discovered afterward was even more astonishing. Nathan's email was like a storm, but I didn't let it sweep me away. I drove to a small cafe by the Willamette River, where I met Clara, a board member with silver hair and sharp eyes who always respected my work. The cafe was filled with the scent of roasted coffee and the soft sound of water flowing from the river, creating a peaceful feeling amidst the crisis. I sat across from Clara, told her about Nathan's email, about how he took Green Pulse, and mocked me, calling me slow just because I was 62 years old. "Clara, I need the opportunity to present before the board." I said, my voice trembling but full of determination. "Nathan took my work, but I have the proof from emails to meeting notes, and I want to prove that Green Pulse is mine, not his." Clara listened, took a sip of coffee, and quickly jotted down notes in her notebook. "Margaret, I know you are the heart of EcoWave," she replied, her voice warm. "Send me all the documents you have, and I'll arrange a meeting with the board. But you must be ready. Nathan won't give up easily, and he has pull with some directors." "Can you handle it?" I nodded, feeling like I had found an ally in the storm. But the crisis wasn't over. A week later, I heard rumors circulating within the company that Nathan had convinced the team that I was thinking about retiring early, and that Green Pulse was his idea from the start. A young engineer, Emily, whom I had mentored, came into my office, her face anxious. "Margaret, Nathan says, you're no longer involved with the project, that you handed it over to him. Is that true?" I smiled, though my heart ached, as if stabbed Emily. "Don't believe everything he says. I'm still here, and I'll prove Green Pulse is mine. Not with words, but with the truth." I called Clara right after. "Clara, Nathan is spreading rumors that I'm retiring. I need the meeting to happen soon, and I want it to be fair so everyone can see the truth." Clara replied over the phone, "Margaret, I've spoken to the chairman. The meeting will take place next week, and you will have 20 minutes to present. Prepare a presentation that they can't look away from, and I promise to ensure you have a fair chance. Inside, I still struggled. I thought about the nights I worked late, wondering if I still belonged in the renewable energy industry. If age really made me slow, as Nathan said. But then I remembered one morning when a student at a school in Eugene hugged me, thanking me for the solar system I designed that helped the school save thousands of dollars to buy books. That moment reminded me that I wasn't slow, that my work mattered, not just to the company, but to the community. I returned to my office, opened my laptop, and checked old emails between me and Nathan, the words I had saved like a shield. Clara sent an email that night with a brief line, "Margaret, send me the evidence. We will do this the right way, and I believe you'll shock the whole meeting." I smiled, though my heart was still heavy. I stood by the window looking at the Willamette River sparkling under the moonlight, and thought of my father, of his smile, when I completed my first project. I wrote a note in my notebook. The day I found an ally, I knew I wasn't alone. Do you think colleagues can hurt you deeper than competitors? I thought so, but what I found in Nathan's emails was even more astonishing. I returned to the office the next morning, opened the encrypted folder in the cloud, and reviewed the documents I had saved. In an old email, Nathan accidentally sent me a draft presentation where he took my green pulse idea, everything from the energy allocation algorithm to the integrated grid design, and didn't credit me, only changing a few words to make it look more modern. I was stunned, but that wasn't all. I found a recording of a meeting I had accidentally saved on my computer when Nathan told the team, "Margaret has good ideas, but she doesn't know how to sell them. I'll present Green Pulse, and we'll make it successful without her." Those words were like fire burning away any doubt in me. My inner monologue exploded. Nathan thinks I'm slow, thinks I'll stay silent and let him steal my dream. But he doesn't know how I built Green Pulse from sleepless nights, from the times I taught myself to keep up with new technology. He wants to take my work. I'll take it back, not just the project, but my honor. And I'll do it in a way that makes him bow before the truth. I sent Clara the documents, the mistaken email, the recording, and the original Green Pulse materials, along with a note. "Clara, this is the truth about Nathan. I want to present at the meeting, not just to prove authorship, but to propose turning Green Pulse into a community initiative, providing free clean energy to poor areas in Oregon. I want my work to touch millions, not just be a project of EcoWave." Clara called back immediately, her voice excited. "Margaret, with this evidence, Nathan doesn't stand a chance at the meeting. But your community idea, that's what will make the board sit up. Prepare the presentation and make it memorable, because I believe you'll not only take back the project, but you'll change the entire company." I nodded, feeling like a warrior preparing for battle, though inside I still felt some fear. I thought about my mother, about how she overcame prejudice to become an electrical engineer in a male-dominated field, and told myself I'll do this for Mom, for Dad, and for myself, because I know my worth. I started preparing my presentation, not just to expose Nathan, but to inspire the board of directors with a bigger vision. I imagined Green Pulse not just as an EcoWave project, but as a community initiative, bringing clean electricity to impoverished areas where children have to study under oil lamps. That idea felt like a light cutting through the fog of pain. But I still had doubts. I wondered if I had enough strength to face Nathan, if the board would believe me, a 62-year-old woman, more than a young, attractive guy like him. I remembered one evening when my father sat with me and said, "Margaret, you have a strong heart, and your work will speak louder than any lie." His words were like a support. I opened my laptop, checked the documents Clara requested, and saw Nathan's wrong email. Each word like a bullet. I wrote a note. The day I learned the truth. I decide not only to win, but to create an everlasting legacy. Have you ever discovered a secret that made you want to change the whole world? I stood at that threshold, and the moment of confrontation was closer than I thought. The meeting with the board of directors was scheduled at EcoWave's headquarters in a modern glass-walled conference room overlooking the Willamette River, with white walls and a long wooden table gleaming under the lights. I had prepared my presentation for 3 nights, not only to prove GreenPulse's authorship, but to propose a new vision to turn the project into an independent community initiative, providing free, clean energy to poor areas in Oregon and beyond. On the meeting day, I wore a navy blue suit, stood in front of the mirror in my office, and whispered, "Margaret, this is your stage, and you will make them not be able to take their eyes off you." I brought the USB with evidence, and the presentation walked into the meeting room with pride, even though my heart was pounding like it was going to leap out of my chest. Nathan presented first, standing in front of the big screen with sleek slides and a confident voice. "Ladies and gentlemen of the board, GreenPulse is my vision, a modern renewable energy system, integrating solar and wind power, bringing great profits to EcoWave. I am proud to lead this team, and the project will put the company on the national map." I sat in the corner of the room, gripping my laptop, my eyes calm, but my heart full of fire. Clara looked at me, giving a small nod as if saying, "Your turn." When Nathan finished the chairman, Mr. Harrison turned to me. "Margaret, Clara says you have something to share. Please, go ahead." I stood up, plugged in the USB, and began my voice deep but sharp. "Ladies and gentlemen of the board, GreenPulse is not Nathan's idea. It is my work, from the energy allocation algorithm to the grid design, built over 3 years of tireless work, with hundreds of nights spent working until dawn. Nathan took it, called me slow, and spread rumors that I was retiring. But I have proof. I projected Nathan's wrong email on the screen where he copied my ideas without crediting me. I played the recording of the meeting with Nathan's voice. "Margaret has a good idea, but I'll present it. She doesn't know how to sell it." The room fell silent, the board's eyes shifting from Nathan to me, some whispering. Nathan stammered, jumped up, "Margaret, you misunderstood. I only improved the idea. The team needs me to lead." I cut him off, my voice, strong like a declaration. "Improved. You took my exact algorithm and design, called me slow just because I'm 62, and spread rumors to push me out. But I'm not here to argue. Ladies and gentlemen, I propose turning GreenPulse into a community initiative, bringing free clean energy to poor areas, from Eugene to rural Oregon. I built this project, and I will lead it not just for EcoWave, but for millions of people in need of clean electricity." Clara smiled, her eyes sparkling. Chairman Harrison nodded, his voice serious. "Margaret, your evidence is compelling, Nathan. Do you have anything to say?" Nathan turned pale, stammering, "I just want the project to succeed." Harrison cut him off by stealing a colleague's work. "Margaret, you have 20 more minutes to present your vision." I continued projecting the slide on GreenPulse Community, describing how it would provide electricity to 10,000 poor households in the first year, with support from donors and the community. The room applauded when I finished. Nathan bowed his head, unable to say anything. I left the meeting room, my head held high, knowing that I had not only reclaimed GreenPulse, but had laid the foundation for a greater legacy. Do you think your work can speak louder than a betrayer's lies? I did it, but what I did next made Nathan truly regret his actions. Leaving the meeting room, I drove to the Willamette River, sat on a wooden bench under a maple tree, and let my tears fall. Not out of anger or resentment, but because of the sadness when I realized Nathan had never truly been the colleague I trusted. I thought about my father, about his words. "Margaret, your work is a gift to the world. Don't let anyone take away your light." His words were like a flame warming me through the dark days. I thought about the years I worked at EcoWave, when I guided young engineers like Nathan, sharing my experience, hoping they would carry on the dream of a green future. Now those memories felt like a torn painting, but I didn't want to hold on to the pain. That night I sat in my small apartment, opened my notebook, and wrote a letter to myself. "Margaret, you don't need Nathan's recognition. You don't need him to shine. You fought, you won, and now you will make Green Pulse a legacy not just for EcoWave, but for millions of others. You are the flame, just as your father said. That act, simple but powerful, was a turning point that helped me heal. The next day, I met Clara at her office, a bright space with pictures of Oregon's countryside. Clara, I want to establish a nonprofit Green Pulse community to deploy the project to impoverished areas. I said, my voice full of determination. I want to bring clean electricity to places where children have to study under oil lamps, where families can't afford to pay electricity bills. I want my work to reach millions of people, and I need your support. Clara hugged me, smiling brightly. Margaret, that's the most beautiful revenge I've ever heard. Turning Nathan's selfishness into a gift to the world. I'll help you contact donors, and the board will support you. Are you ready to change the world? I nodded, feeling a new strength as if I had just found myself again. I started working immediately. Met with the team, hired more experts, and reached out to nonprofit organizations in Oregon. I thought about the times I doubted myself, the nights. I wondered if I still had a place in this industry, if age really was a barrier. But now, looking at the Green Pulse community plan with the goal of providing clean electricity to 10,000 households in the first year, I know I've found the light. I stand by the Willamette River, watching the sparkling water, and think about my mother, how she always found joy in the small things, like a perfect calculation. I want to live like her, not for the victory, but for the joy of creating. I write a note. The day I healed, I found purpose, not just for me, but for the world. Have you ever turned your pain into a gift for others? I've done that, and it led me to a place I never expected. The board approved Green Pulse Community, and I was appointed as the organization's director, a new role separate from EcoWave, but partially funded by the company. Nathan was demoted to a subordinate role, lost credibility with the team, and eventually left the company after a few months without a word of farewell. I used my 30 years of experience to build Green Pulse Community, launching the project in 3 poor areas of Oregon, providing clean electricity to 10,000 households in the first year. The inauguration ceremony for the first project was held in a small town near Eugene, with hundreds of people in attendance, from children holding balloons to elderly people sitting on folding chairs. I stood on the makeshift stage wearing a green jacket and said, "Green Pulse Community is my gift to those in need of light, to those who deserve clean electricity." My colleague Nathan thought I was slow, thought I would fall. But today this project is proof that my work speaks louder than his betrayal. Nathan came to the inauguration, standing in the distant corner, his eyes full of regret, no longer confident. After the ceremony, he approached, his voice small. "Margaret, I was wrong. I didn't expect you could do this. Didn't expect you to be this strong. I'm sorry for taking your efforts." I looked at him, my voice calm but firm. "Nathan, you thought you stole my dream, but you gave me the opportunity to create something bigger. Green Pulse Community is proof that I am not slow, and I don't need your apology to move forward, but I hope you learned something from this." Nathan lowered his head, said nothing, and walked away. I didn't feel triumphant, just relieved, as though I had let go of a heavy burden. The project was praised by the press, from local newspapers in Eugene to national magazines on renewable energy. I received hundreds of thank you letters from families saying that clean electricity helped them save money, to buy food to students, saying they could study at night. An elderly woman, Ruth, took my hand at an event, tears in her eyes. "Margaret, you've given my family light, literally. You are our pride." Her words were like a gift, reminding me that I had done right. I thought about my father, how proud he always was when I completed a project, and imagined him smiling somewhere. Green Pulse Community continued to grow, with plans to expand into 5 new states in the next 2 years. I opened my notebook, wrote a note. the day I built a legacy. I saw my parents smile, and I knew I had won. Do you think one kind act can change an entire community? I've seen it, and it changed me forever. Green Pulse Community expanded rapidly, rolling out in 10 states over 3 years, from Oregon to Texas, bringing clean electricity to 100,000 households. I began hosting free workshops, teaching older women about renewable energy, helping them find confidence to pursue their passions. One member, Lisa, came to me after a workshop, her voice shaking. "Margaret, my family says I'm too old to learn technology, but you helped me design a solar system for my community. You are my inspiration." Her words were like a breeze blowing away all the remaining doubts within me. I organized a large charity event at a park in Eugene, raising $300,000 for local schools, with thousands of people attending, from children drawing pictures about clean energy to volunteers installing solar lights. Eugene was filled with my story, from local newspapers to social media posts calling me the spark of clean energy. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Once, a sponsor criticized me for being too ambitious, saying I should focus on Oregon instead of expanding nationwide. I listened, invited a project management expert to join, and Green Pulse Community became stronger with clearer processes and a larger team. I thought about my mother, how she always helped others despite facing prejudice. I began spending weekends teaching children about renewable energy. And one boy, Ethan, said, "Ms. Margaret, I want to do a project like yours when I grow up." His words were like a star lighting the way for me. I called Clara. "Clara, I want Green Pulse Community to become a global symbol. Do you think we can do it?" Clara laughed. "Margaret, with your heart and talent, nothing is impossible." I opened my notebook, wrote a note. The day I spread the light, I saw the world brighter, and I knew I was living true to my parents' dream. Do you think a community can heal the deepest wounds? I've seen it, and it led me to a bright future. 5 years after Nathan's cruel email, I stood on the stage of a renewable energy conference in Seattle before thousands of people, from young engineers to environmental activists, with eager eyes. I wore a red dress, the color of the flame my father once said I carried within me, and told the story. My colleague Nathan stole my Green Pulse project, called me slow because I'm 62, thought I would fall. But I turned that pain into Green Pulse Community, bringing clean electricity to millions from Oregon to Texas. I didn't do this for Nathan, but because I know my worth, because I want to live true to my parents' dream. The ones who believed my work could change the world. The crowd clapped, and I saw tears sparkling in the eyes of many. During the Q&A session, a young audience member, her voice trembling, asked, "How do I fight back when I'm looked down upon because of my age or experience?" I looked at her, smiled, and answered, "Let your work speak for you. Start with a small step, a project you believe in, a skill you keep learning. Your value doesn't need anyone to recognize it as long as you believe." Every project I build is a small step, and now they have become legacies. You can do it too. The conference ended with applause. But the moment I'll always remember is when Lisa from my workshop ran to hug me, saying, "Margaret, thanks to you, I'm living my dream with a clean energy project for my community. You've changed my life." I hugged her, feeling like I was hugging the whole world. Green Pulse Community is now a nationwide symbol, sponsoring 50 projects with a team of 100 people, from engineers to volunteers, and internationally recognized with a global environmental award. Nathan lives quietly somewhere, occasionally sending apology emails, but I don't reply, not out of resentment, but because I have found peace. I keep his emails in a small frame with the caption, "Your work is a fire that no one can extinguish." At the 5-year anniversary of Green Pulse Community, I stood before the community and said, "I used to think my colleagues defined my worth, but I define myself, and each of us has the right to paint the picture of our own life." I thought about my parents, about how they always believed in me, and imagined them smiling in the communities I've helped light up. Life, like an energy project, requires persistence, strategy, and faith. There are days you feel invisible, but remember, you are the fire. What will you do to make your work speak louder than betrayal, even when no one believes in you? I did it, and I know you can too.